Today, I would like to talk to you about values because I feel like, with all the stuff going on in the world, and there's always like a poo storm of information that we're taking in and navigating the stressors in our life that we kind of don't really sit and think about what our values are. And I think it's really important to understand the definition of values and how we can apply them to help us navigate challenging circumstances in our lives. I think values are basically like a great pillar of strength and support for you. The wonderful thing is, just like, how they say, there's no one snowflake that looks like another. Your specific set of values and how you apply them to your life is very specific to you. And I think it can actually act as a spiritual fingerprint that makes you uniquely you. Hello everyone, my name is Sama and welcome to Spirit-Led Guidance. I'm going to give you a really quick example of a value right off the bat. So, as you can see, I am, or I don't know if you can tell, but I am not wearing a lick of makeup on my face. I am very au naturel right now, and I'm sure you can tell. I mean, look at me. I am not looking doll-like at all today, and that's just because I value authenticity. So, to me, it doesn't matter if I don't look as good as I could if I were to clean myself up, but I want to feel comfortable in my own skin. That's very important to me. Now, if somebody else insists on putting on makeup because it helps them to be themselves, that doesn't mean that they're less authentic. They are just expressing their authenticity in a different way. And we all know makeup can be a form of art. It can definitely be a form of creative expression. So someone who wants to go full glam and express themselves that day, that is their form of being authentic. So authenticity to me means being bare and being very natural. Authenticity to someone else could mean, I don't know, feeling like their best selves, right? Like feeling like they can take over the world because they feel so confident about how they're presenting themselves. And on the flip side, people can take both these two sides of the coin in a negative sense, right? If you are someone who would rather look at like a woman who has her face made up and is looking more put together, in your opinion, then of course you may think that me wanting to be bare-faced is like a slight to people's eyeballs and I should be done up and it makes me kind of a slob and kind of lazy. Whereas someone who really struggles with their self-confidence and really struggles to walk out the door with being barefaced, like they may feel that their self-esteem would take a hit if they went out without makeup, they might find that quality in myself admirable. They may feel inspired, like, oh wow, that's so cool and like so brave of her and confident of her to be able to go out without makeup on and not worry about what other people think. So there's like two very different sides, right, to how people perceive your values. And that's also what I want to talk about. But first, let's define values, okay? Values are essentially any quality or characteristic or trait that you hold of importance. And like I mentioned, it helps to inform your decisions as you go through life. The problem is a lot of us don't even really sit to consider what our values are. I know it can seem very vague, right? Like, what is a value? I am not a linguistic guru in any sense, so I am not entirely sure of the etymology, is that the word? Yes, the etymology, meaning the origins of words. So if I am saying anything wrong on like a language perspective, like correct me. But essentially, to me, a value can be anything. Like if you're a gun-loving, bull-riding cowboy out in the West and those are the things you value, and to you, those values mean freedom and liberty, those are your values. That's awesome. To others, maybe having a weapon is not the best thing. And it could mean something more dangerous. And so if you're more of a pacifist and you don't agree with that, freedom to you could be like a sense of safety within community, right? Like knowing that there are no weapons. And I don't live in America. I've never lived in America, so I don't know what gun culture is like. So I'm not trying to do a commentary on that. I personally, quick fun story, is I was sent to do some firearms training twice in my life as part of like a job, not a requirement, but an opportunity through a workplace that I had that was in law enforcement. So the position I was in, I did not need firearms training, but if I wanted to continue within that environment and that organization of law enforcement, then it was an option for me so that it could open up more career opportunities for me down the road. So I was scheduled to go twice on my own dime, of course. And I went to the training city, like where the facilities were. I went to the city, and then both times I bailed and went whale watching instead. And once again, that reflects my values. Like, to me, knowing how to handle a firearm is of less importance to me than being able to witness some beautiful marine life, right? Your values genuinely do dictate how you lead your life. And so it's very important for us to like sit down and assess what our values are. And in fact, as time goes on, we should reassess what our values are. So to my family of YouTube subscribers and viewers who watch me regularly, you guys know that I'm going through this like career existential midlife crisis. And I really have, thankfully, because I'm on a break right now from work, I've had the time to sit down and think about my values, like what's important to me and why I'm not feeling that great about where I am in life. And it truly is a reflection of what I value. So I am an ambitious person. I do want success in my life. I have never ever been the type of person to like coast and just be okay with the status quo. You know, I know someone, a coworker, who genuinely has been in his job for the last 20 years. Like, he's hit the top of his pay grade or whatever within a unionized environment. So like, he is making the same salary and probably will until retirement, minus like the cost of living increases, which we know are like garbage nowadays. He's like perfectly happy. So he is very set in routine. And to him, that is an important value, is like having an established routine within a very specific structure that he knows inside and out and is comfortable with and confident with. And he lives his life the same way. Like, he has the same thing for breakfast every single day. He has the same thing for lunch. To him, routine and structure is one of his values. To me, so along with ambition, so to me, I could never, if I was stuck in the same position at work for my entire career, I would go crazy. And that doesn't mean that anyone who thinks differently than me is wrong. This is just my value. I am ambitious, and I'm also very adventurous. So I like things to be shaken up. I clearly, my life, I feel, is like really stagnant right now. So I'm kind of looking for change. And so I value change, and some people don't. And that's okay. It helps me understand why I'm so miserable right now. And it's because I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel that never ends. And so it really can help you to get to know yourself when you identify what your values are. Another really important value for me is freedom. Just based on how I was raised, and this is important too, our values are informed and we pick our values based on our past experiences. So our life history, right? If you were raised with like 10 other siblings and you never got the attention you deserved, or a lot of responsibility was put onto your shoulders, then maybe you value both solitude so that you can have some time and space to yourself. And you may also value like really strong relationship ties where you feel like you're getting enough attention. I, on the other hand, I'm an only child. So when I was growing up, there was a lot of expectation placed on me. The burden of me growing up to be a successful adult, that was placed on me from a very early age, because I'm basically the only person carrying on my lineage when it comes to my parents. And so they really wanted me to succeed, but obviously that sort of desire for my success had become toxic at some points, right, in my life as I was, picking my career and what I wanted to do and stuff. There was a lot of input from my parents on what they thought would be best for me without actually knowing my wants and desires. And then on top of that, I've talked about this several times, but I am brown. And so there have been some cultural and social expectations of me getting married, having a family of my own. And a lot of those expectations do not align with what I want for myself. And so to me, freedom is very important. Freedom of choice. Freedom to do what I want without people questioning me or telling me I'm wrong or trying to argue and convince me otherwise. freedom is very important to me. And so once again, when I think about my job, I don't feel free, right? I'm restricted to a schedule. I have to wake up and report to work by this time. I have to make sure my task list is done every single day in the same order. My work can become monotonous. So no creative freedom as such. I actually think my job is pretty good. Like, I feel like there's somebody else out there who would be like, this job is the perfect fit for me and I will be happy here until the day I die. I genuinely believe that. My cat Pino is currently chomping down on a cardboard box like he's a dog next to me. So I'm sorry if you heard those rumblings. But see, because freedom is my value, I also give my cats freedom, right? I would never, like, if my cat was disturbing my video making, unless it was like egregiously disturbing, I would not stop him. Like, I'd be like, you're a cat, you do you, And so anyways, that is my rant on freedom. Because our values dictate how we feel about things, everyone will have different opinions on the same matter because their values are different, right? So, for example, let's take the topic of marriage. If you are someone who values like traditional family structures and wants to be married and imagines yourself having like the American dream of the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids or whatever, to you, that is a great option. And so when other people talk about their weddings and when people talk about getting married, you probably get excited and happy. And I mean, if you've also only ever experienced happy and loving and healthy romantic relationships, the idea of marriage is nice to you. You know what I mean? Like, you will be much more open and associated with positive feelings. If you talk to marriage about someone who's a divorcee and had a horrible experience through their marriage, and they are absolutely cynical and pessimistic about ever getting married again because of their past life circumstances that have told them that marriage kind of sucks, then obviously, if they enter the discussion about marriage, they will probably be more negative about it, and they may be a party pooper, Their values have changed because of their divorce, right? Maybe they were like happy and excited about being with someone when they were younger, but then they went through this terrible experience. So now they're a little more practical, a little more jaded. Our values are also reassessed, right? As we go through life. So as we accumulate life experience, we will sit down and change some of our values. And so when someone is reacting poorly, when you're expressing your values and when you're living your values, haters gonna hate, and that's because their values may be very opposed to yours. Like their values may conflict with yours, and neither party is wrong, okay? So when people live their life differently from yours, they're not wrong. And of course, this is assuming that nobody is getting like dangerously hurt in the process. Like somebody who values hurting others, obviously there should be some intervention at some point to help that person not want to hurt others. But I know sometimes when we're looking on, especially as a stranger, especially when we see like debates on social media and such, we have to at least have a sliver of open-mindedness that they're allowed to live their values as they please. And therefore, we're allowed to live out our values as we please. Live and let live, Let others live their lives as they feel is fit for them. And we can do the same, right? And so in that way, if we have that mutual understanding that you have the freedom to do what you want and I will do what I want, and both of us can think we are right, then let it be. And it will bring you so much more peace and relief to live your life like that. So that's all. That's just what I want to talk about. So if it helps you to make this an exercise for yourself, like defining your values, you can sit down and journal it out, or else just make a cup of hot chocolate and sit on your couch with your pet or whatever, or soft blanket. Whatever helps you feel cozy, and then just look out the window and think about it. You know what I mean? Okay, well, you're the best. I appreciate you guys so much for watching every week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.